Ready?
Carlo?
Okay, good morning, everyone. Ms. Matias, we are live, we are recording, we are streaming. You may proceed with today's public executive review session.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Board of Standards and Appeals review session for October 20th, 2025. Please note there will be no public testimony during the review session. The first item up is adjournments, 2024-38BZ, 90-17, 179th Street, Queens. Second, number 2, 2025-06BZ, 8802 Northern Boulevard, Queens. Also adjourned. Postponements, 13508BZ, 7152 172nd Street in Queens. And 2025-25BZ, 24556 Richmond Avenue of Staten Island. Oops. Decision items, 26898BZ, Volume 3, 1252 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Okay. We received revised submissions, and I looked through the documents. They seem to have responded to the board's.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Please note for the record that Commissioner Shabeta is absent for the review session at the moment. Sorry, excuse me, Madam Chair.
No, that's okay. Applicant made its response to the comments. I looked through the response. I was satisfied with the submission. Is everybody okay with the revised set of documents? Okay. So this is an extension of terms. So I make a motion to grant a 20-year extension of term. Please note that that as per previously approved plan, a total of 98.2 square foot of illuminated sign was approved, of which 63 square foot fronts on Forest Avenue. This means it exceeds the 50 square foot permitted in a C1 district. So based on that, I want to put a condition stating that the total surface area shall not exceed the maximum permitted in C1, and the illuminated shall be limited to as shown in the BSA approved plan. And the applicant has 12 months to obtain a certificate of occupancy. So that's the extension of time.
20 years from today.
20 years from today. Yeah. Motion to grant.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 6, 21200BZ, Volume 3, 640-666 South Conduit Boulevard, Brooklyn.
Okay, so you must have received by now some back and forth of documents that we got from the consultant of the applicant, and also just as of this morning, we received an email from fire department that they're withdrawing their objection. So I think based on that, the fact that there is an inspection that has been scheduled and that fire department is withdrawing its objection, I would make a motion that we approve a 2 years extension of time to obtain the certificate of occupancy, and in the meantime, also address all the outstanding fire department issues.
Motion to approve, Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 7, 495BZ, Volume 3, 2123 Hillside Avenue, Manhattan.
Okay. So we received the community board vote. Community board voted to approve the application. Applicant has submitted revised documents. And also please note that the total number of vehicles that will be parking on the site is now 47. Previous approval was for 48. I think the lineup had initially stated 48, but it's 47 vehicles. So is everybody okay with all the submission that's been made? I then make a motion to approve a 10-year extension of term for 47 vehicles with conditions that the applicant must obtain a certificate of occupancy within 12 months.
Motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 8, 24698 BZ, 5315 21 Northern Boulevard, Queens.
Okay, applicant has provided a revised plan. It includes all the elements that board had directed the applicant to add to the drawings. Applicant has also provided complying signage. And the note also has been added that signage shall comply with C22 and will require a DOB approval. Also, with regards to the street improvement features that the board had recommended, I really want to thank the applicant for reaching out to DOT and also to the community board. Before I move on, did everybody have a chance to review and everybody satisfied with the submission? Okay, great. Then I want to make a motion to approve a 10-year extension of term with the following conditions. That signage shall comply with the C22 and DOB shall review and approve the signage requirement. BSA is not waiving any of the signage regulations. All sidewalks and curb cuts, restoration and reconstruction shall be pursuant to DOT standard. Applicant shall submit builder's pavement plan for DOT review and approval prior to reconstruction. The layout and use of the open and enclosed area shall be consistent with the BSA approved plan. Vehicles shall enter only from Broadway and exit only to Northern Boulevard. And sidewalks shall not be used for storing of any vehicles and shall not be blocked.
Motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Shoot. Item number 9, 2025-01A, 6815 Main Street, Queens.
Okay, we received submission from DOB and from the appellant. Upon review of all the materials submitted by the appellant and DOB, my position from earlier hearing has not changed. DOB has been consistent in its application of the zoning regulation and case laws. As I said earlier, DOB was thorough in its review and was consistent. It is not for the board to enforce DOB's implementation process. And furthermore, DOB also provided clarification regarding hypothetical space utilization. Appellant makes an assertion regarding the use of cellar space based on information from Hetzola's website. As DOB correctly pointed out, any development on the site must have to comply with DOB approved plans, which as established is consistent with use groups permitted at the subject site per zoning resolution. Any deviation from the approved plan would be in violation of the Department of Buildings approvals, which would be handled through an enforcement process by DOB. BSA cannot act on a speculation. It has to be based on facts, which in this case is the DOB determination and approved plans. As appellant quoted from D'Amelia, quote, the actual use of the building in question, not its possible future use. So in this case, the actual use of the building would be per approved plan and the applicable regulations and not a future use as presented in the website. So those are my statement, but I want to hear if anybody wants to say anything before I take a motion. Or should I just go ahead with the motion?
I fully agree with everything you said.
Okay.
I agree that you should not be allowing speculation of a future abuse of rules and regulations to enter into the conversation at this point in time.
Thank you. Commissioner Sheta?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Chair. On up to the previous hearing, my position was that DOB did whatever like possible to like make a determination that Hatzulu is a not-for-profit. I believe they have gone like all the way and beyond even to do that. And in addition, regarding the issue that's raised in the latest submission, I don't believe neither DOB or BSA should act on speculation. And if there is a deviation from the DOB approved plans, it should be brought by any member of the public or even the applicant to DOB, and then DOB can like start an enforcement process. Before that's proven to DOB, I don't think DOB can do anything about it. So my position is still the same as the previous hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. My position is also the same as the previous hearing, and I thought the discussion about the speculative use in the cellar was not the question before us here in this appeal. And so I have nothing further to add.
Okay, thank you. I therefore want to make a motion. The motion was to revoke the DOB's final determination. So motion to
Motion to
grant,
Chair.
motion to grant the appeal,
Chair Chanda?
deny?
No, motion to grant and then we vote no.
Yes
on
or
it.
no?
No, yeah,
Okay.
I'm not,
Motion to grant the appeal.
I'm not granting it. I'm
Yeah,
denying.
but then you say no.
Yes,
That's what you just said. Okay.
Motion to grant the appeal. No.
no,
No.
okay,
Commissioner Otley Brown?
No.
it can go both ways.
Commissioner Sheta?
Thank
No.
you.
Commissioner Yoon?
No.
Application has been denied. Item number 10. Item number 10, 2022-65BZ, 2503-2519 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn.
Okay, I was informed that we shall be receiving a DOT sign off tomorrow. So I'm going to second call this for tomorrow. We'll
Okay.
hear it first thing.
Okay.
If not, if we receive it first thing in the morning, if not, we'll do it towards the end of the hearing.
Okay. Item number 11, 2024-18BZ, 15805 Union Turnpike, Queens.
Just give me a second.
Has he joined us yet? No. Okay. Keep watching.
All right. So we received a revised set of documents and the applicant has revised all the information, including the traffic study, revised plans and statement of facts. Everybody had a chance to review it. Okay, so I have to say I'm satisfied with the information. And I want to thank the applicant and its team for working with us in responding to the comments that the board has raised throughout the hearing. So I therefore make a motion to approve the accessory drive-through facility for a 10-year term with the following conditions. Drive-through hours of operation shall be from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. All exterior lighting shall be directed away from residences. The lumen level along the property lines abutting adjacent residential use shall not exceed 2-foot candle. All signage shall comply with underlying zoning regulations. The automatic volume control feature for the speakers shall be kept active at all times. Under no circumstances shall motor vehicle queues be allowed to spill back onto Parsons Boulevard, including blockage of sidewalks because due to operational and safety concerns. Appropriate signage shall be maintained advising of the same. If this condition fails to be met during operation of the facility and no other corrective measures can be reasonably implemented by the operator, BSA in consultation with DOT and DOB after permitting the operator with advance written notice and an opportunity to be heard will take action to revoke the approval for the drive-through facility. In addition, no left turn shall be permitted when exiting the site. There are 2 curb cuts and no left turns shall be permitted when exiting. Okay, is everybody okay with those conditions? Motion to grant?
Motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 12, 2025-18A and 2025-28, 32 and 38, 32 and 28, Olympia Boulevard, Staten Island.
Okay. Applicant provided the flood map indicating that the site is within a flood zone. And accordingly, the documents have been revised. Everybody satisfied with the submission? I then make a motion to approve General City Law 35 with the following condition, that the board is not waiving any of the flood regulations. Proposed development shall comply with the underlying zoning, building code, fire code regulations.
Motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 13, 2025, 21A, 25 Egbert Place, Staten Island.
Okay, applicant confirmed that the site is not in a flood zone and the statement of facts has been revised accordingly, and also especially with regards to the DOB objection about the bulk. Everybody satisfied with the submission? Okay. I don't have any conditions to add to this, just a motion to approve the General City Law 35. Is everybody okay with that?
Okay. Motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye. Sorry.
And get a CO within 4 months.
Commission,
For 35.
are we putting terms on the city planning?
This
Why?
might be a change.
GCL?
For 10 years.
Get a CO.
I thought we were doing-
Been requiring 4.
No. We should do it because if within 10 years, if it's within 10 years, it's fair. Right?
So how is 35?
Do I call it?
Yeah.
Motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Sorry, wrong one. Appeals calendar. Continued hearing item. 2024-47A to 2315 B Demeyer Street, Brooklyn, Bronx, sorry,
Bronx.
Bronx.
Board reopened it on September 8th, so today we are going to hear this. DOB provided a status update, and according to the letter that's been provided, it seems the issue still remains unresolved. Now, the unresolved issue is related to building code and fire code, and that is regarding the frontage of the zoning lot or the development site. Now, the application for 2315B was filed in 2006 and was subject to 1968 building code. At that time of the issuance of the certificate of occupancy in 2012, the building was then in violation of the building code and also the fire code, in addition to the zoning regulation. So I think based on that, this is a ground for granting a revocation of the certificate of occupancy. So the question I have for Department of Buildings is there a cure that will resolve this building code and the fire code? And what action needs to be taken by the applicant? The property owner's submission lacked clarity, and it did not refer to the latest fire department objection letter that we received on August 21. In its August 21 letter, fire department agreed with the applicant, which is DOB in this case, that the subject site does not comply with the minimum requirement. So I think there needs to be a clarification. We need to take a decision whether we consider whether we should proceed with revoking the permit if there isn't any was Vice Chair able to join us?
I don't see him,
Technically
I
should be
don't
resolved?
see him. I don't see him, do
Okay.
you?
Uh,
I don't see.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
I mean, I agree with you. It's unfortunate that there still remains, buildings code objections and fire code objections. And it'll be interesting to hear from DOB whether this actually could be cured or if this is just an unfortunate incident where it's going to be a building without a C of O. I feel the sad thing about it is the occupants of the building and the owners of the property end up suffering down the line because of this.
Commissioner Shetta?
Thank you, Chair. I did read the submission from DOB, and I believe that the question should be directed also to the applicant. On what is your plan, to the applicant, what's your plan?
Meaning the property owners.
Yes, yeah, the,
Okay.
I'm sorry, yes, to the property owner, yes, the applicant is DOB in this case.
Right.
To the property owner, yes, on what is your plan to cure the non-compliance or non-conformance with the code? And what is the time frame to achieve that? And I believe we should set a time frame to avoid just back and forth.
So if I may, I just want to make clear for the record and for the board and anyone listening, the application before the board is strictly regarding the CO number ending in 8063F, issued July 13th, 2012. When the board's discussing a cure, DOB has represented that the only cure or remedy for the property owner here would be the issuance of a new certificate of occupancy. So it doesn't sound like there's any way to cure a non-compliance or an objection as to the certificate of occupancy number before the board. That's the case here. Whether that CO in and of itself complied, whether there is some other remedy is up for the board and DOB to discuss, but it's really outside the scope of the narrative on whether that CO issued under a certain code at a snapshot in time complied when it was issued or should be revoked. I don't think DOB would allow a CO to be amended to apply a new code. They represented a new job would have to be filed, processed, and a CO would have to be issued for that new job. If that process went forward, it wouldn't remedy the CO before the board. It would allow the property to be developable or habitable, but it doesn't remedy the CO.
I recall that I did read in one of the submissions from the DOB that there are some work that need to be done by the property owner in order for them to issue a new certificate of occupancy. And that's what I meant by directing that question to the property owner, asking him, what's your plan in doing such work? And what is your time frame? And if they are not able to do it and they say nothing to do, then we move forward with the application and just revoke the current certificate for occupancy. If they have a plan, I don't want a DOB or us to play as their architect or engineer. It should be their burden to look into the issue, see what kind of non-compliance, non-conformance they have, and how to tackle that in order for them to get a new certificate for occupancy from the DOB and move forward with legalizing whatever existing condition or modifying the existing conditions to comply with the code.
And yeah, so procedurally though, because that does invite a process where the appellant could file an application contesting the application of a code in a ZRD1, which could be appealable to this board under the property as a subset of this appeal. I would advise against that.
Okay.
Move on. No, Commissioner Young.
I'm sorry. Apologize.
I'll just say that I agree with the chair and I would like to hear DOB's answer to what their next steps would be. But based on what we see here, it seems like the 1968 building code objections are not resolvable with this CO.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Special order calendar, new cases, item number 15, 11853BZ, volume 3, 10657 160th Street, Queens.
We received proof of initial filing and hearing notices. Applicant states that applicants have, they have reached out to the community board, but have not received any response.
Mm-mm.
So we still, I will ask our office also reach out to the community board. This is an application for a 10-year extension of term for continued operation of a retail store located at the subject site. There are 3 retail uses on this site. Applicant is not proposing any changes. I just have some notes that needs to be added to the plan. Dimension, with regards to the site plan, dimension the portion of the building in the rear, identify the refuse area on the plan. Existing sign on the retail store seems to exceed the permitted required signage regulations, so please provide a signage analysis. Add a note to the plan that the signage shall comply with the C1 regulations. Provide an interior lot line condition photos. The easement area and the fenced gate, which is shown on the plan, what I would like to know is who's responsible for maintaining that area, because it's going through another property which is not subject to this action. So the reason I'm asking that is based on the Google Street View, the gate is in need of repair, and it's also overgrown. So I'm not sure who is responsible for maintaining that portion. Regarding proof of continuous use, based on Google Street View, the site seems to have been in continuous use as of 2024 and 2024 Google Street View photos. So I'm assuming the gap years also the site was in operation. Applicant has provided a compliance chart. Applicant needs to provide proof of photos of the 2002 conditions, including a sign posted outside alerting fire department. There are 3 open ECB violation and a stop work order without permit. So I am assuming this extension of term is required to address these violations. Applicant, please provide some updates. We also received a letter of no objection, though with conditions, and it has to do with one of the retail uses with regards to its fire extinguishing system, and the cooking appliance. So I'm assuming that note has been shared with the property owner so that property owner can work with its tenant in resolving this issue. Is Vice Chair still?
I don't see him.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
So my first question has to do with the store that's going to have the food market. Are they aware of what the hours of operation are going to be for the food market when it does take place? And I found the plans to be a little light on details, like the square footages from each of the store units. It would be helpful if we had. And also they have the proof of continuous use is on the internet, but I didn't see it in the file.
Right.
So they should take those pictures and just put it into the
Okay.
file so that the file is complete. Those are my questions.
Okay.
Or issues rather.
Thank you. Commissioner Sheta?
Thank you, Chair. I agree with both of you. In addition to that, one of them educate us on what is the plan to clear.
What is the plan for?
What is the plan to clear the 3 open ECB violations?
Okay. Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. I saw that they had resubmitted a statement of facts on October 10th where they say the store number 1, the supermarket, they add a little bit more information. So there they say the hours of operation would be 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and that the deliveries would be from the rear yard entrance on 107th Avenue, and they would get deliveries on a daily basis. So that's just because that was absent in the first statement of facts, and I saw it in the revised one. I have a couple of comments just to add. It may be a little bit repetitive, but the chair mentioned the easement area and the condition of the fences and that lot line. The 1974 resolution conditions that all fences along the north and east lot lines of lot 50 and the east lot line and rear portion of the building line of lot 48 along 107th Avenue shall be repaired and maintained in good condition. So this was a condition that goes back to 1974. So all of that, the chain link fence should be repaired and replaced as needed. The site is overgrown and it should be maintained, and all your garbage should be stored in an enclosure. And that also goes with the chair's comment about identifying where the trash is stored. The statement of facts says the most recent grant was in 2002, but I believe it's 2012. I think just double check your dates. All deliveries,
Yeah.
I believe it's a condition, all deliveries shall be from the rear yard. Right now, it's stating that store number 2, which is a liquor store, will receive the deliveries from the 160th Street entrance, which is the front entrance. All deliveries should be from the rear yard. So please correct your statement. The signage analysis seems incorrect. It states that 150 square feet of illuminated signage is proposed. It also notes something about projecting signs, that 30 inches are permitted or 18 inches are permitted. I think that there's some confusion about signs on awnings versus signs that are projecting. Please take a look at the signage requirements in the zoning resolution and revise your signage analysis. Need additional site photos, including the rear loading area, and your radius map should be a 400-foot radius, not 200 feet.
Okay.
Chair, I'm sorry, when I said my comment, I said, what is the plan to clear the 3 open ECP violations?
Mhm.
But I didn't mention the 2 FDNY violations as well, so I would
Okay.
add that
Okay.
to the plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Item number 16, 218-15A, Volume 3, 428 St. Mark's Street, St. Mark's Place, Staten Island.
We received proof of initial filing and hearing notices. However, we have not received any response from community board. So applicant, please provide an update as to the status. This is an application for an amendment of a previously approved GCL 35 and a waiver of zoning resolution section 72-01G and an extension of term which expired on May 3rd, 2020, and a waiver of board's rule. Back in 2016, board had granted a GCL 35 and a bulk waiver pursuant to 7201. And there was a letter of substantial compliance that was granted in 27. So the applicant is seeking an extension of term to continue with the construction, waiver of board's rule, and also amend the plan drawings and requesting a removal of board's condition of 4-year term. Now, the amendment to the plans, I really don't think matters much as long as they are consistent with the underlying regulations. However, the information that was provided was confusing and didn't seem to kind of work. These are my questions. Again, I don't want to belabor it, but if you are providing the information should be correct. And that's why I'm raising that question. So for example, on the most recent statement of facts on page 3, it states that under site plan, quote, residential floor area increased from 961 square feet, 77.4%, to accommodate additional units because the applicant is proposing to increase the number of units from 5 to 6. And the rear yard is also going to increase from 30 foot to 35 foot, the depth of the rear yard. The lot coverage, however, therefore the lot coverage will also reduce. So now on the same page, under zoning data, it states that residential floor area changed from 4265 to 4054 square foot. So if the residential floor area increased, why would the residential floor area decrease in the total? So to me, that was just the way it was stated was confusing.
I think that you're referring to a floor by floor showing of what the floor area is when it was the 900 feet. So like one floor increased and other floors decreased. And so that led to an overall decrease. That's what I had got.
Okay, that wasn't very clear to me.
Yeah, I know. It was only, I've read
I
it
read
over
it
and
ma-
over
yeah.
again. I was like, what's going on? And then I was like, oh, it says first floor. So it was talking
Okay.
about that first floor
I see.
increase.
I see, okay.
That's what I think is what.
All right, so maybe the applicant can clarify, just make sure the document, if you're stating these on the document, please make sure it's consistent and correct. Because as I said, the board is not waiving any of the underlying use and density. So the maximum permitted total zoning floor area on this site is 2.2 FAR, which comes to 4,675 square feet. And the proposed development must comply with all the applicable regulations. So I leave it up to the applicant to decide how they want to proceed with that statement. With regards to amending the board's removal of 4-year term, I am fine with that. I want to hear what the applicants have to say. I don't think the applicant needs to provide a compliance chart. There is one open ECB violation, and that has to do with the job safety fence. That needs to be resolved, so applicant can provide an update as to how they're proceeding to do that. Was Commissioner Shibata?
I don't see it in the
I
room.
don't think so. Okay. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I have no additional comments on this.
Thank you. Do you have any position on the removal of the 4-year term?
I think it's fine if they remove the 4-year term.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sheta?
Thank you, Chair. The only comment I have is regarding, it's an administrative comment, I would say. I saw a submission for, this is a new project, this is a new application.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a submission on Friday, including new plans and new statement of that.
Mm-hmm.
If this submission came late, and I believe on new applications, we shouldn't allow submission beyond the submission date, because when I got this, I was like, wow, so I need to redo the entire application one more time. So that's one thing. The only comment, like, in the meats of the application I have is they are talking about complexity of the project, which according to them is causing the delay. I would like them to elaborate on what kind of complexity for the project in the statement of facts. And regarding the term, I'm just like concerned that if we eliminate the term, what's gonna like push them to build this as soon as they can. So I just have that concern. Like when you have a 4-year time window for the applicant or the owner to build, they know that if they don't start construction, they need to come to VSA and go through the process. But if they have that in place, I believe it's a motivation for them to start construction. If I got it wrong,
This is a larger discussion.
This is subject to 7201G.
Yep.
So they need to substantially construct within 4 years.
So that already it's part of the condition there.
okay,
So there's no reason for us to add another condition. It is subject to that.
Okay.
Thanks for that clarification.
Here, unlike other GCL 35, simple GCL 35, 7201G under Article 7 requires that they substantially construct within 4 years of the approval.
I wasn't aware of that. Thank you.
Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. I am okay with removing the 4-year term on the GCL grant. The statement of facts, I agree with you. It is very confusing the way it's read, and I think that there are clearer ways of representing what has changed. So please revise so that it is clear what is changing and where. The statement of facts and board history both cite January 14th, 2014 as the date of the last grant, but the resolution is dated, I think, May 3rd, 2016. So check your dates. The proposed plans that are submitted here just show a site plan, but the previously approved plans had plans, elevations, and sections. It was a lengthier submission, so if the applicant could just explain why this submission is limited to just the site plan. And then I just want to demonstrate the, just the way things are labeled or identified on both the statement of facts and on the drawings. It says here proposed 961.8 square feet of, you can read it. It's not clear to me what it's saying. I believe it's trying to say that 961.8 square feet or 77.4% of the development is within the bed of the map street. But basically, the submission just didn't have clear labels of what these numbers were referring to, and that makes it really difficult to understand how minor these minor changes are. And then I guess while I'm here, I'll just show that the previously approved submission had, again, elevations and sections, and so why this submission doesn't have
It
that
must,
same
because it's a bulk waiver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
And I also didn't realize that I missed the submission on Friday, so I was just looking at it. Obviously, it's difficult for us to get the notice of comment responses the day before the working day before the hearing and be able to cover all of that. So I would ask that we get more time in receiving responses, maybe in concert with what Commissioner Sheta said. That's all.
Okay. Move on.
Yeah.
Zoning calendar, continued hearing items. Item number 17, 2024-27 BZ and 55-12 BZ, 762 Wythe Avenue, Brooklyn.
I'm just going through my scrolling. Okay. Applicant has provided its response to comments that were raised at previous hearing. So first, let's start with trash containment. Applicant has provided very submitted documents that identifies the steps that has been undertaken by the school to address the trash containment. I want to thank the applicant for finding ways to address the trash containment matter and also implementing it, starting to implement it immediately. Photos have been provided of 14 bins that's been placed along the building and at the curbside for pickup, and sidewalk cleanings have been, and the sidewalks being cleaned, that also the photos of those also have been provided. I do need some clarification. After the enlargement, would the bins be continued to be stored along the building, or will they be brought to curbside on the days of the pickup from the building? Are the 14 bins for both garbage and recycling? What is the current curbside regulation along this portion of the curbside where the bins are being placed? Will they be impeding any curbside parking or student drop-off and pickup or the open street play area program? With regards to the waste management plan, applicant again has in its comprehensive document has provided information about the procedure of the DSNY and how the garbage would be collected, and what the procedure school will undertake and it has undertaken already, which I believe that we did check and seem to be satisfied. The statement made regarding the waste management, regarding especially with regards to the missing collection dates, if DSNY misses the collection date. So, and the statement says if DSNY fails to collect bags, and so that immediately kind of made me think, well, aren't we looking at bins and not bags? So my question is, are the recommended DSNY bins picked up and emptied by DSNY, or are the garbage bags stored in these 14 bins placed at the curbside for DSNY to pick up the garbage bags from the bins? It just to me was not clear. So because the purpose of all of this is to make sure that the garbage bags are not sitting on the curbside. So regarding the garbage and recyclable pickups on Saturdays, Will the waste be left at the curbside Friday before 7 p.m. or Saturday before 7 p.m.? Please note that school safety has some questions regarding the way the quantity was analyzed, regarding the quantity of trash that would be generated and the minimum number of storage area that would be required. I hope the applicant has received the comments, school safety comments regarding that. And I hope the applicant will be able to provide a clarification and ensure if the proposed analysis is consistent with DSNY. I though would say should the board approve this application, a condition of the board will be that a garbage recyclable shall be placed outside of the building only on the day and only prior to the pickup area, placed in the DSNY approved and required containers. And the rest of the times, all forms of trash generated by the building shall be stored within the building. So I really don't want us to have to spend and go through the analysis and methodology and process, because there is a standard DSNY has, and the school has to abide by all the regulations, and our conditions should be around that. So that's why I read out the condition, and you can let me know what you think about it. A revised plan has been submitted showing the proposed location of the refrigerated trash area. Now, the question I have is that, not a question, it's just what I observed was that the refrigerated trash provides use the similar calculations that we have seen, which is what the school safety is questioning. However, I do want the applicant to provide some specs of the refrigeration system that is being proposed to be installed in this cellar area. Fire department had issued an objection letter on October 8th. And I don't know if the applicant has been notified of fire department comments. And if so, the applicant should provide a status update as to how those objections are going to be addressed. At the last hearing, applicant had stated that Penn Street is closed down for safety and is used as playground for students. Furthermore, the school will be working with DOT for enrolling into the Open Street program, which according to DOT website, educational institutions can request. My question is, the use of the Penn Street as play area, is it and will it be in conflict with the proposed curbside storage of the trash and existing use of the curbside for school bus parking and other curbside regulations? And what is the process and how soon can the applicant proceed? Because if it's already closed, they should be working with DOT in securing that approval right away. And this all needs, all these questions are leading to the finding D of the special permit. Statement of facts and findings will need to be updated to reflect the proposed trash containment, waste management plan, and the Open Street program. Those are my initial comments. Vice Chair is still not able to join in. Oh boy, Vice Chair is having some technical difficulties, so he's not able to join in. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I was happy to see that they found space in the cellar to create a refrigerated trash room, because that was my one issue, and I have no other questions.
Okay. Commissioner Sheta.
Thank you, Chair. I believe the submission was very responsive and very clear. So I want to thank the applicant for that, and you got all of my comments, including the status of the FNBY.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. I had comments very similar to yours, Chair. I think the applicant needs to respond to the school safety question about why they don't use the value provided by DSNY for DOE, which is 2 pounds per day per student. The applicant, as we've seen on many cases, is relying on a value from the Minnesota, what is it? Minnesota pollution, something or other. Sorry, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency study, which is 0.5 pound per student per day, which is a quarter of what DSNY appears to be requiring or for their calculations. For the refrigerated trash room, I have some questions. Is the only way to access that room via the staircase from the kitchen? Or can you also access it from the cellar? It seems like you would have to go through the sprinkler room in order to get there. And my concern is generally that when you have large bags of trash and you're relying only on a staircase, you're not likely to take your trash down there because then you have to bring it all back up. And at the quantity we're talking about, not having a wheelie bin that can get to an elevator that can get you to where the trash is proposed to be stored, which is outside on the street, it doesn't seem like a probable place for trash storage to me. The applicant can walk me through that, but right now the path that I see to actually getting all of these bags of garbage, these perishable bags of garbage up to the street would be someone going up and down these stairs repeatedly to get the trash outside. It doesn't seem like a workable solution to me. And so I also wanted the applicant to take a look at there's an east storage room that opens directly onto Penn Street. Why that room could not be used for refrigerated trash storage since it's already located at the level where the pickups would occur. Alternatively, looking at a room in the cellar that could be accessed by elevator so that you can wheel large quantities of trash back and forth. I'm looking for something that seems a little bit more realistic, given the quantity of trash that we know is being generated by the school already and how much more that will be once the school is expanded. Let's see. Okay, then there was photos showing street cleaning, the streets being cleaned in October. And I'm just going to share really quickly because in looking at it, I realized there was a structure that was built on the sidewalk in Penn Street, and I wanted the applicant to explain what this structure is.
That may have been for Sukkah.
Sukkah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that would be a temporary structure.
Temporary structure.
That has a,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that would be good to just have clarified since it's in the photo. I caught my eye. Let's see. Let me see if I had any other questions. That's it. That's all I had.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, this concludes the review session for October 20th, 2025. We'll resume in 10 minutes. Yes,
Yes.
so that's 11:13. It's 11:03 by my computer. 11:13, we're resuming with the public.
11:15.
Okay, 11:15. Let's just.
11:15? Okay, let's round it out. Yes,
Commissioner
ma'am.
Otley Brown
Mhm.
does the finance, so I'll trust her.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
That's good luck.
Okay. What happened?
11:15?
11:15.
It's like 10.
All right. Don't break it. Or
My back to the chair.
Well, both. And don't tip over.
It's like it's walking Bowie. You know, the dogs are sniffing each other and twisted up.
We're taking testimony on the DOB
I would
thing, right?
teach something, man, unwind. And so the human.
From the neighbors.
Hi, the room is not muted. Just so you know.
Room is muted.
Just want to check if you guys can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Great.
Okay, good morning, everyone again. We're about to proceed.
Every mic's on?
Yes. Microphone's on?
Mhm.
Okay, Ms. Matias, we are live, we are recording, we are streaming. You may proceed with today's public hearing.
Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals public hearing for October 20th, 2025. The first item up is appeals calendar, continued hearing items. Item number 14, 2024, 47A, 2315B, Demire Street, the Bronx.
Okay, I see.
This would be Megan Brandon, Felicia, Todd is there.
Oh, you see Felicia?
Felicia,
I see two Felicias.
well,
I'm both of them.
yeah. And Todd Dale's there.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Ms. Brandon.
Hi, good morning. So in addressing the points raised by the commissioners, so in terms of what a cure might be here, as the objections that the department issued in August point out, it's possible that if an easement was recorded against the front property, the 2315 premise, that it might be able to solve the objections. Alternatively, the frontage space definition here, according to the 68 code, was not met. So here, if there was the driveway was permanently maintained free of all obstructions, that is another way that possibly they could demonstrate compliance here. But I just want to reiterate a point that Commissioner Sheta pointed out, that it is for the applicant to demonstrate to DOB how they would be able to comply with our outstanding objections. And also to reiterate the point made by Mr. Vine, the application that DOB brought before the board was strictly whether or not the CO complied with all laws, and it is unfortunately not disputed that at the time of the issuance of the CO, it did not comply with all laws. So the objections are not resolvable with this CO. Of course, DO would be happy for the applicant to be able to remedy the objections, but they have not been able to.
Now, what you're suggesting would require coordination with the abutting property to draw up the easement.
Correct. That is one of the ways in which they could demonstrate compliance with frontage.
Now, the alternative is that the driveway remain permanently free of any obstruction, and that driveway is solely under the ownership of the current property owner.
I believe that's correct, yes. And
Wouldn't
that's
that
why
be
what would
easiest-
require,
Wouldn't that be
Sorry.
the easiest way to do that, rather than having to coordinate with another property owner and affecting their property rights?
technically speaking, I'm not 100% sure how they could comply with that piece of it. It's possible, although it might be possible that a driveway could never be, I don't know if the zoning or something would require the driveway to allow for cars. I don't know if they'd be able to actually meet a requirement for it to be unobstructed at all times. That would be something the applicant would have to demonstrate with their plans. Currently, as the plans are, there are cars in that driveway.
Okay, so the alternative, you're questioning whether that would meet the requirement of the on-site parking requirement. If one that isn't to be implemented, then one will not be able to provide on-site parking.
That's correct. Technically speaking, I'm not able to answer that question fully, but I believe that's the case.
Right, that leads to another interpretation, yeah. So it seems, yeah. Any questions? I have a question. I have a very general question. I don't even know if, actually, no, I don't want to raise this question. It's probably not the right time for it. Okay, Mr. Dale, do you want to identify what process you will be implementing, considering to address this issue?
Sure. Good morning, Todd Dale for the property owner. I just want to state for the board, just to clarify, our office became involved with this application partway through the process, and we've been working with the property owner and the architect to seek a resolution to the objections that have been raised. And just as a point of history, to note that there were originally objections relating to floor area ratio and minimum distance between building, which we believe have been resolved through efforts. And the remaining outstanding objection is this. So just to let you know that there has been progress towards resolving the objections raised by the Department of Buildings. At this point, the most recent objection relates to the frontage. There was a submission made and the objections were maintained. The project architect has reached out to Commissioner Bavon to request a meeting. And just to provide some background, the issue is with respect to frontage for this building, which is in the rear. And the definition under the building code that's applicable, the 1968 building code, says that you are required to provide frontage space or directly front on a street. And in this instance, the current position that we're presenting with the architect is that this does have the required 8% street perimeter frontage. It's been approved at other sites, and we'll be able to show that. And the fact is that you're only required to have the 20-foot wide driveway to reach the frontage space if the frontage space is required. But if it's an either or, the street or the frontage space, if you do directly front on the street, then the frontage space and the driveway width are moot. And in this instance, we provided calculations so that there is 8% street frontage. And we would note that this is considered fronting on the street, even though it's removed from the street in the rear of the lot, because no general city law 36 objection was issued. And, absent that objection, that's, implies that we do front on the street, and we have other locations that have had this approval. So that just gives you a brief summary of where we're at right now. As I said, the meeting's been requested. I don't know if that's been resolved. I'll obviously inform the board if that meeting is set. As an alternative, a ZRD1 could be filed if necessary, but we believe that resolving the frontage issue will take care of this objection, and that would allow the department to be satisfied in its objections and withdraw this application. Absent that, as I said, we would go from the meeting to a ZRD1 if it's necessary. Other alternatives would be, there is an easement on record. I don't know to what extent the driveway easement. I would need to plot that and review that. We're hoping we don't need to go to that, but we could take a look at the current existing easement. But then we could look at, keeping the driveway free of objections. As an alternative, I know this is bigger picture, but it was mentioned during the review session. We potentially seek other alternative relief, either an interpretive appeal or a variance long term, but we're hoping it doesn't come to that case. But that's my summary of everything to let you know where it's at. But the core is meeting with the commissioner and presenting the fact that this does have the street frontage and does meet the requirements. That's where we're at right now.
Has a date been scheduled?
Not yet. The request was sent last week. I don't have the information. I reached out to the architect today and he had not heard. So,
Ms. Brandon, is there a way your office can work with Mr. Dale to schedule that meeting and initiate that discussion? Or you don't think, your office doesn't think that would lead to a solution?
I was not aware of the request to have the meeting. Of course, I could coordinate that. For the record, though, I'm not confident it would change anything, but of course we can facilitate that meeting.
I appreciate that, and I will have the architect reach out to see if this can be facilitated.
Mr. Dale, you mentioned about an existence of an easement. If I understand it correctly and from my memory, what I remember reading all the various submissions that's been made, isn't there a separate lawsuit with regards to the easement with the property owner that's fronting on Demare?
There are civil actions that were taking place, and I was trying not to get too involved to this particular case because I realized we start to move on to different issues. That said, I'm not sure if that easement would satisfy this particular objection if it stands. I just mentioned that there was one. The more realistic approach would be, maintaining the driveway free and clear if it was required. And I think you mentioned that would be a cleaner way to resolve this if it was necessary. But as noted, we're hoping that step wouldn't be necessary.
While that may be a cleaner, but as Ms. Brendan pointed out, then it would be contradictory to zoning regulations parking requirement.
Right, we have to do that.
So how would the parking be provided on the remaining portion of your site?
Again, we would explore that as necessary, but our position right now is that the frontage requirement is met, and that would be the first step that we would.
I would say in the interest of time, I really don't want to drag this on, and this really would not be a, I understand that you want to rule out go through all the procedures and policies. However, I would strongly suggest that you also, in the meantime, look at ways where an alternate parking can be provided on site within the rear yard that is on the other side of the building, not the street side, but the other side.
Understood.
And have that in your back pocket so that no delay is created going back and forth between DOB and your architect in trying to resolve this issue. And I think more than the easement, this probably is a cleaner way. This way you're not disturbing your neighbor. Your civil matter proceeds whatever way, whenever, however, that's not before us, but you're taking what you're required to do, you're doing it on your site without relying on another site.
I agree. The concurrent approach is the approach we'll take.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, thoughts on this, commissioners? Okay, let's go to the public.
The case that we're currently discussing is 2024-47A, 2315B Demire Street. Should you wish to have comments on this application, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the webinar ID number 161-468-4973 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you'll press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute as you're calling in from the phone. And if in the Zoom room already and wish to participate, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you'll have 3 minutes in which to comment. This is Mary Radova.
Is there somebody by the phone number?
It's Mary Radova,
Okay.
the neighbor.
Radpavar, how are you?
Radpavar, sorry, apologize. Sorry. I'm in bed with
That's
me.
okay. This is Mary Radpavar. How are you?
Hi.
Regarding 2315 Demire. Okay, first of all, the easement hearing, that was dismissed already. That's number one. And number two, this whole thing makes no sense. You guys basically stated that you guys were going to take the C of O away. It's been enough time. And the games that are being played are absolutely ridiculous. And there is no way of parking on the other side of the property. So I don't understand where that's coming from. There is absolutely no way that this could get approved because I'm not allowing it. Okay, the neighbor across the street isn't allowing it. The neighbor on the side isn't allowing it. And it doesn't make any sense. There is no easement. The easement was started illegally. We already went to court. That case was closed. Okay, and I don't understand what you just said about the other side. There is no other side to park. The other side is my property.
We are not here to discuss the plans. I just threw out ideas and suggestion, and it would be subject to review between the applicant and the property owner and DOB, should that be an alternative worth considering
understand
pursuant to the underlying regulations.
Okay, I understand that, but we've gone now how many months that you guys basically stated that it would be revoked and this would be the last hearing, and you guys just keep extending it. Okay, this property was built illegally. It should have never been done. Basically, the Department of Building themselves said it was self-certified and they never checked anything on the property. It wasn't inspected, okay? Your own Department of Building people said that. It was never inspected. It was just self-certified by the architect and nothing was inspected. And the fire department saying it's not safe. So, I mean, you're putting us all in danger. The insurance companies are basically saying the same thing, that the homes are too close to insure. And this has been going on for how many years now? When is it going to end?
Thank you very
This
much.
property was not inspected properly when it was built.
Okay. We give them 3 minutes. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you
Okay.
very much for your calling in and providing an update. Any questions for the applicant?
And my other thing is, are you guys aware that there's a fire hydrant in front of the property?
Thank you very much. I think you've,
What's up?
time is up. Thank you very much. If you have anything that you want to submit, you can put it in writing. All right. Is there anyone else who wants to speak on this case who has not spoken yet from public? Okay. Fire Department, Chief Raymond, do you want to say anything regarding this?
Sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I just had a question for Mr. Dale. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm using the right microphone. I was a little bit confused about the definition of frontage space. And I guess I would just ask for a clarification of how the building is fronting on the street. I'm not quite clear. I understood that.
That's fine. I'm happy to respond if it's okay with the board.
Yes.
Sure. So the definition of frontage says that every building, exclusive accessory buildings, has at least 8% of the total perimeter of the building fronting directly upon a street or frontage space. Okay, that's the main definition. In this instance, our position that we maintain, because it's been approved a number of other sites, is that 8% of this building's perimeter does have direct frontage, direct line to the street, to DeMeyer. The fact that it's removed from the curb does not remove the fact that it has a direct frontage. And that's been the interpretation that has been approved at other sites. If this did not have frontage on a street, a general city law objection would have been issued under GCL 36. None has been issued for over 15 years. And that implies that the frontage exists. And if that frontage exists, then the 30 by 30 requirement of frontage space or the driveway width to that frontage space are moot because it is considered to have street frontage. And that is the position that we're hoping to discuss with the commissioner to get confirmation on. I don't know if that helps clarify or not.
Sure. I just wanted to understand your position better.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think, so my question before my board members is that do you feel that we are in a position to let this go through one more round of review at DOB for them to find a resolution? Or should we revoke the application today? Grant the revocation of the application today.
Oh, whose hand is up?
My concern with this frontage is that I'm gonna just pull up what we
DOB's
have.
Sorry, Madam Chair, DOB's hand is up.
Okay, let Ms. Brandon.
Sure.
Speak. Go ahead, Ms. Brandon.
Thank you, if I may. Just given the back and forth and the questions about an interpretation of this code provision with frontage, it appears as if it would be, if the board did not vote to revoke, if it was going to continue, it would be most appropriate for a CCD1 to be submitted before a meeting with the commissioner would happen. And as far as I'm aware, a CCD1 has not been submitted at this time.
Yeah, I have to say, I have some concern on that one. I think the way I see this, this site received a CO, which was, though when the application was submitted, it specifically talked about zoning non-compliance, which seemed to have been addressed thanks to City of Yes. The issues with regards to DOB and fire department, building code and fire department things remain unresolved. And at the time, that was not what's before us. I understand that the CO looks at everything, the building code, fire code, and zoning. So I just am somewhat confused as to what is the specific action that is before us right now, and so is it the revocation of the entire CO, which includes all the elements, the zoning code, building code, fire code, any other code that can be questioned? Because the letter that we have is specific to the zoning. And now the building code and the fire code has also been brought up. And so if I read it, the project was in violation from the issuance of the CO. So why are we talking about CCD1? Shouldn't we just then revoke it? And there isn't a way, if I'm understanding, there isn't a way to even address this through the current CO. You would have to get a new CO anyway. So why shouldn't we revoke this CO, and then you proceed with a new work with the property owner to obtain a new CO? That's the part I'm a little bit confused about. So, Ms. Brendan, I want you to be able to explain this to us. Can you correct the issue under the current CO, or would you have to obtain a new CO?
The bottom line is that the current CO is not valid. Although at the time we submitted our statement and our application, we did raise zoning issues. When the applicant came to try and demonstrate compliance with all laws, which include the building code objections did get raised. So I recognize that's not in our initial application, but nonetheless, the CO did not comply with all laws. And it appears as if it might, and they're not able to. So it appears as if the existing CO should be revoked, and then the applicant can come in and request a new CO demonstrating compliance with all laws, including the building code, the fire code.
And at that time, the CCD1 would be the procedure the property owner will use?
Procedurally, I'd have to clarify the exact process. I'm not sure if it would be with a brand new application, but nonetheless, if there are questions about the interpretation of the code, that would be more appropriately addressed with the CCD1 when objections are raised.
Okay, so a CCD1 will have to be filed in order for it to meet with the Commissioner Levine.
Correct.
And that has not been filed.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay.
If I may, Chair,
Go ahead.
I would say if it's required to file a CCD1, we can file the CCD1. There have been meetings, that I've dealt with on many projects where it wasn't required, but if it is required in this project, it's something we can do. I would object at this point to any effort to revoke the certificate of occupancy. I understand that this application has been before the board for some time, but as noted, since our office became involved, we have resolved those zoning objections, and those were the primary focus of initial hearings. So I think that we've demonstrated efforts towards resolving, the objections have been raised by the Department of Buildings, and our end goal is to resolve all objections and maintain the CO. Revoking this CO at this point, when this issue is, in many ways new to the application, when you resolve one issue and then a new focus is presented, and we're now trying to work on this, I think it's premature at this point. And a revocation of the CO, even if we could get back and get another CO, that becomes a much more timely and costly process for the property owner when this application here is before the board. And I would say it would frankly be unfair at this point, considering that the zoning objections were reviewed and addressed under City of Yes, and we're trying to move forward on this next issue. So though I understand the concerns raised with respect to time, in the most recent hearings before the board, we have made progress on issues, and we believe that we'll be able to resolve this objection also.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that issues are being resolved, and it's really primarily thanks to City of Yes. Had City of Yes not been in place, I don't know if those issues could have been resolved, honestly speaking. So that's fact number one. The second part is that I am concerned about the safety and the security of the site, and the codes that have been raised, fire department code and all of that is of a safety security concern. So I really don't want this to keep lingering with an effort of one meeting, couldn't schedule it, another meeting could schedule it. If at all I'm going to allow any round of review, it's going to be one meeting. And if that meeting proves to be not futile, not effective, and not going to respond to it, then we are going to, and I want a letter then from DOB stating that a meeting was held and this was the outcome of the meeting, and there is no resolution on this. Well, based on that, we will then revoke the permit.
That's reasonable if we can say that.
Revoke the Sorry, thank you. Revoke the CO, yes.
Yes, be amenable to that.
DOB, will you be amenable to that? Because I really am concerned about this getting dragged out.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Shana, could you clarify if I'm amenable to the revocation of the CO or to a meeting?
First of all, the applicant needs to submit a CCD1 immediately.
Okay.
And then facilitate a meeting as soon as possible with the applicable commissioner, and then see if there is a resolution that can be met, whether it's through the interpretation or preferably through a site plan change, whatever it is. It needs to be corrected and addressed very quickly. If, however, the meeting with the commissioner bears not a positive outcome, I want a letter from DOB stating the reason and why it's not possible, and therefore please proceed with the revocation.
I think that would be okay from the department's perspective, yes.
Pardon? Sorry.
That should be okay from the department's perspective, yes.
Okay, then we will schedule that meeting quickly and proceed with the necessary steps. Commissioner Shetta.
Yeah, I would, for just the concern of the board regarding the time and keep dragging this, I would suggest closing this matter today.
Oh, yeah.
And give him a chance to submit. I don't want to give him instructions on what to submit. Submit whatever it takes you believe that's necessary to prove it to us that there is a progress that's going to lead to muting this application from DOB. And DOB should list that progress and that plan. If not, then we can vote on it on the upcoming meeting.
Okay. Okay, all right. I was going to close it, but thank you for the backing up my thoughts. Any other clarification from Mr. Dale, from Ms. Brandon?
No, we'll promptly prepare a CCD1 and submit it, and with Department of Buildings Assistance, seek to facilitate a quick meeting so that this issue can be resolved. And we appreciate the board's opportunity to, resolve what we believe is the one outstanding issue on this. We believe our position is correct, but we'll present the hearing, and then we understand how the board has to proceed administratively after that.
All right.
And please keep coordinating with DOB. The target on the upcoming hearing, if there is gonna be an upcoming hearing, is to get a feedback from DOB that, yes, there is a path forward. If DOB doesn't provide that kind of feedback, it's a done deal. Then we're gonna vote on it and revoke the certificate.
All right. I see, right, we already called public. If you have any additional submission, you need to please put it in writing. Thank you. I want to make a motion to close record open for DOB and Mr. Dale's submission, and any submission from the public.
Motion to close, Chair Shanda.
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta. Vice Chair Shabeta.
Absent.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta.
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
I say aye. I don't know why you couldn't hear me.
Okay.
You
Thank
will be
you.
muted, Vice Chair. Yeah, you will be.
Vice Chair.
That's why.
Vice Chair is joined us.
Is also, if Mr. Dale, if you can give us an update on no, that's fine.
No.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Special order calendar, SOC, new cases, 11853BZ, Volume 3, 10657, 160th Street.
Who will it be?
This is Isa Kurasanchi.
I've let Isa.
Isa M.
Yeah.
Please.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. I have to swear you in though, Isa, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Kurasanchi, sorry. Raise your right hand. Why do I keep getting switch pictures? Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board, and to respond honestly to all of my questions?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
My name is Isa Kurasanchi, and I'm representing the owner of the said application. And I want to wish everybody good morning. Morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
Were you able to hear our questions and comments that were raised at the review session?
Yes, Madam Chair, if you allow me, I can go through them. I tried to take notes as fast as I could. However, if I left something out, we could come back and those concerns could be raised again, if I may.
Proceed, please.
Okay. I took notes as there were comments about the site plan dimensions, which we will put those dimensions on the plans as noted. There was a question about signage as per C1 zoning. I have made this clear to the new owner because the previous owner had sold the building and we have a new owner, and I made it clear to the new owner to communicate with his tenant that the signage which has been installed is not, in my opinion, is not as per code zoning. and he should retain the services of a professional to file an application with Department of Buildings for the signage as far as the size or the illuminated, non-illuminated. Therefore, that is the responsibility of the tenant to obtain, file and obtain approvals for such signage. There was a question. Yes.
So the signage has to be, I just want to be clear, the applicant, each of the property owner needs to make sure that the signage that they're proposing on their portion of the storefront has to comply with the C1 zoning regulations. It's not what they want to do and therefore get the approval from Department of Buildings. A department cannot overrule the underlying regulation. They have to comply with the underlying regulations. And that for that, first they need to work with an architect who will ensure that the proposed signage complies with the underlying regulations. And if it doesn't, then the property owner has to remove all of those underlying, all the incorrect signage to make the signage compliant.
Correct. In my opinion, the signage which is installed was never filed for, was not approved, neither they received permits for that. And it is not, from my experience, it is not as per zoning.
I agree.
Regulation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the next one, if I may, there was a comment about easement. This, I don't know whether this is an easement or what, to this building, to this property via the next door, which is a lot 48. It was in all these years, since 1953, I have read, but I don't remember ever seeing anything about the easement, that there was an easement in place, or if there has been an easement recorded. But this was a comment made that if this is an easement or what. And I think the corner lot, although it's a commercial, I believe they do not have a C of O, and I don't believe their property is subject to BSA approval of use group 6 in R4 district. Therefore, I believe the gate must be maintained and kept in good working condition as per my client's, that's his responsibility to keep it in good working condition. And I did mention it to him that this gate has to be fixed and repaired as previously have been stated in the zoning approvals, conditions which were stated. But my client.
Sorry, I'm just going to share the plan here that clearly states there's a 15-foot wide recorded easement. At least there's reference to it. I didn't go check the ACRIS, but that is clearly noted here on the plans.
Right. It is an assumption that is because they're going through a different lot, there must be some kind of easement. Whether it's recorded, whether it's legal or not, I'm not sure, but I can look into it. But like I said, in the past, over 50 years or so, there has never been a mention about this easement in the BSA approvals.
Okay, so you do need to look at ACRIS and others, look for the easement agreement, because it's only going to help you in your ability to, if any issue comes up with the property owner of lot 49, for you to be able to rely on the easement. So I would strongly suggest that you do secure it for the benefit of your client.
I'm sorry, are you saying that the BSA has never discussed the easement in the past? I'm sorry if I misunderstood.
Yes, I've never seen in all the resolutions since 1953, I've never seen an easement unless I missed it or I don't remember, but I've never seen anything mentioned about this easement.
I'm pretty sure I read in the 74 conditions, but
I can look into that and to see whether it is recorded.
Here, let me just pull up so we don't go back and forth on this. This is the resolution from 1974, and very clearly it states that it discusses lot 48. And it discusses the rear of lot 48 over which the easement is provided shall be paved in accordance with this, and the maintenance shall be, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a condition of the 1974 resolution.
It seems like there was an easement maybe recorded back then. Whether it was just a mention of the easement or if it was recorded.
I think that basically I just want to counter your statement that there is no mention of it in the BSA resolutions because it's there.
But do I need to look more into it to see whether it was recorded or the fact that it was mentioned in the 1974, that's sufficient?
I think you should, for legal reasons and to secure your client's ability to fix the gates and other requirements, which is stated in the 78. It's possible at that time there may have been an easement, but we cannot go back and reread the history. So it's for the benefit of your own client that you should allocate the easement. And and it's in the approved plan. The approved plan states it. So it seems it's been carried over from one approval after the other, the statement that there is a recorded easement. So there must be somewhere. You need to locate it because it is only going to help your client to be able to make those repairs that the prior boards have conditioned it. And it must have been based on some document. So just for that reason, you must.
Okay. There was mention about the overgrown shrubs on the property, which again, I have brought this up to the owner's attention because these people are new. The owners, they just purchased it and they are not aware that this was a BSA case and they have to comply with the conditions, previous conditions that the board had approved. So I will repeat myself again and bring it to his attention that this property must be maintained in proper conditions as stated per BSA resolutions. If I may move on to the next comment.
Sure.
There was a mention about the fire department signage. Yes, that signage is still on the wall of the entrance to the takeout restaurant, and that is there. We will provide a photo of that depicting that the existence of such a signage.
Okay, please provide the photo of that.
Okay. There was I think
And is it, I'm sorry, is it indicated on the plan as to where that signage is located?
I believe it is. If not, we will put it on the signage,
Okay,
but
please do. Yeah.
the location remains the same as previously because I was the previous applicant as well, and we had shown it. If not, we will show it again on our drawings. I think it was the comment about the hours of the food market was corrected because it was, I believe it is, because it's just new. They just opening it up. So last time I was there, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, they were still showing the products, putting the products on the shelves. And but I'm pretty sure it is between 7 and 10. But I will make sure that those are the correct hours to be stated in the statement of facts.
Okay.
And there was a comment about continuous use of photos. I have provided via Google Map showing that the commercial use that has been continuously used. Previously, during the pandemic, I believe it was maybe converted the supermarket to a restaurant. However, those people went out of business. So now it's a supermarket that is taking the place that they can.
Right. So Commissioner Otley Brown wanted, what we did, we independently went to Google Street View, and Google Street View has photos for every year. In your case, we found photos from 2022 and 2024. So that is good enough for the board to show that there has been continuous use on this site. So for the completeness of the record, please send copies of those Google Street Views to indicate that the site has been in continuous use. Maybe a project manager can help you in terms of what we are specifically looking for and how you need to submit that information.
Madam Chair, I believe I had provided those pictures, but if Tony directs me to resubmit it again, I shall do so.
Okay, so maybe it was misplaced. So I didn't find it. I was looking at I did my own search, and I think so did
Yeah,
Commissioner
same
Otley
here.
Brown.
I actually don't see any photos submitted.
Yeah, so maybe something happened in your submission, so please look into it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There was a mention about ECB violation. Those ECB violations, I believe they were as a result of doing work without a permit. And since then, the tenant applicant has filed those, and those for construction as well as electrical have been permitted. And that it remains the responsibility of the tenant's applicant to make sure those ECB violations are removed as well. They've been resolved.
Okay. So please coordinate with your property owner to work with the tenant in addressing those issues.
Okay. And there was a comment about deliveries to be from the rear, not the front. To be honest with you, once I was there and I noticed that there was a truck, which was it was a big truck that would not be able to get through the gate, and that was for the liquor store. And they had a couple of small boxes that they were offloading, and they were delivering to the site. And I believe if it's a big truck comes, I can't say that they have to go through the gate because it will not fit. So it's easier for them, maybe within 5-10 minutes, to drop off a few boxes and leave. But other deliveries for the supermarket, they are done through the rear yard.
So they won't have big trucks coming? That seems hard to imagine that a supermarket would not also have that same issue.
Well, my experience was with the previous supermarket, which they would come with vans, small vans, or small trucks. But this, the truck that I saw delivering to the liquor store was a big truck, and it would not easily get into the back without hitting the sides or hitting the building on lot 48. And that street is pretty narrow for them to back up and try to get in and get out easily. Therefore, I think it's not such a bad idea, without doing any damage to the adjacent properties, to just deliver when they can not use the rear and use the front for their deliveries. Which I saw with my own eyes that it was a big truck, and that truck could not possibly go through the gate and back up in that such a narrow street, the side street.
I have to apologize. I'm somehow or the other, I'm not able to open any of the PDF documents that were submitted. I'm having some technical issues on my laptop. Can anybody tell me when this condition was placed?
I'm looking that up now. I'm relying on the conditions compliance chart. I'd have to verify it in the actual resolutions, but let's see. I will share. I am also having some spotty SharePoint issues, but I was able to open the compliance chart.
Yeah.
Oh,
My files just went blank.
Members of the board, this is Carlo. There are some issues happening on the network. It's not us exclusively.
okay. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Amazon services hosted pages are disturbed.
Oh, okay. My reason for asking this question is really as to when this particular condition was put in and trying to understand what was the impetus of that, and is that should we be holding on to that condition strictly? Because so much may have changed from that period to present, where the type of delivery, process of delivery can be done in so many different ways, and the marketing, the vendors, their policies, that may have changed, and those are not in the control of the individual tenants. So just from that point of view, I'm thinking, what was the purpose of that finding? When did it start? And should we try to, and this is a question for our council and for the board, if you think so, should we consider providing some clarity on that in light of today's business operation and modes? Or a relief from that condition? Yeah. Something to think about. These are very small business operations.
Yeah.
I think we should do an internal memo first.
What?
I think we should do a memo first about it, so we're all on the same page.
So you're asking the applicant to provide a reason as to whether the need for, I don't think I want to eliminate them having to use the rear yard for delivery. Where possible, that should be done, but also recognize the fact that it is possible situations may happen where deliveries from certain producers and others may not be cannot be accommodated in the rear yard, and therefore would have to rely on curbside. And so if the Mr. Khorasanchi, if you can provide a little bit more clarity as to the nature of operation and how, if this need you think needs to be revisited and amended.
Well, the language could be amended to say, like, the operators will make every effort to use the loading zone in the rear to unload goods.
I like that.
Well, if you, I'm looking at the tax map, and 107th Avenue, that's where the rear access is located, is a narrow street. And having two sides of parking on both sides leaves very little room for any kind of a truck to back up and get into the property for deliveries. If it's a small van, that I could say that's possible, but if it's a bigger truck, that is not possible. And that's why I noticed and I saw that the truck was parked in the front and they were just delivering small boxes, handheld. They were just carrying, a couple of boxes, small boxes, and then they were out of there.
Right. I understand what you're saying, Mr. Khorasanchi. I'm just trying to help you in trying to bring a little bit more clarity on the past conditions so that in future, should something like this happen, it doesn't become an encumbrance or a contradiction of the conditions.
I liked Commissioner Brown's comment that if possible, the delivery should be done from the rear. If not, efforts should be made to not to have a big truck parked there for hours and hours, but within reasonable time to make the deliveries in a safe manner, because delivering through the sidewalk, across the sidewalk, that could also create a pedestrian hazard. But they have to be careful when they're doing this.
Okay.
From many years ago, the conditions have changed. The city is more populated, more cars are around, people are walking around, and they can't hear because they're listening to music, whatever, in their ears. So it's difficult to tell the delivery people, for example, how they should. I don't think they just have to be careful.
Okay.
With the public.
Okay, so I think it would be helpful if you can provide some clarity in your next submission. I have a question going back to it, and I think since we have not heard anything from the community board, this is something you just need to be mindful of when you do talk to the community board, should they call you for hearing or so.
Well, I have made many attempts. I have called them. They have not picked up the phone. I have emailed them as well as I have sent them registered notices to them.
I know you have. I know you
yeah.
have. And our office also will make an attempt to reach out to them. Okay.
I appreciate
it.
If I may move on.
Yes, please do.
Okay, there was also a comment by Commissioner Yoon about the 400 feet radius, not 200. I always thought it was 200, but if need to, I will increase it to 400 feet.
I don't know if that changed. It's just what we've required in our, and that's what's typical as far as long as I've been here, but that's only been a few years.
Because I believe my last submission was 200.
Instruction has changed to 4.
It's 1,000 or larger sites, but.
I do remember seeing 200 while on some
200
cases.
special permit,
200, yeah.
400 or whatever.
For variance, 200 for special permits, 400 for yeah, something like that. Okay, we will clarify and get back to you on that.
Very well.
Okay.
And also there was a mention about the fire department violation. I had a conversation with Deputy Chief Inspector Mr. Raymond about the cooking equipment that they have in the supermarket. I believe he mentioned that it was electric. However, it needs mechanical ventilation with fire suppression system. These two both have to be filed with the building department and get the approval. I'm sorry, with the fire department. Fire suppression has to be filed with the fire department, ventilation with the building department. However, the fire department will not accept their application until there is a valid CFO. They need a copy of a valid CFO, which was expired, I believe, in 2021.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for responding to all the questions that were raised. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Khorasanchi?
Yeah, I just wanted to note that there's residential across the street from on 160th Street and then also directly adjacent to this site. And in the back where the loading area is, there's a vacant lot behind a church. So if there were to be any disturbances because of loading and unloading, it would be to the residences in the front. And so that's where I was bringing up the condition. So as you're looking through that and proposing potentially amending that condition, I think it would be good to also include limited hours for delivery so that we aren't concerned about disturbances to the residences on 160th Street.
I will be more than glad to provide you with some more information about the delivery hours. However, that would be just an estimate because once the trucks are delivering, they're on their own. They go from one location to another. So whether I'm sure they're not going to deliver 7 o'clock in the morning, but maybe starting after 10, 11 o'clock or so, the deliveries will take place.
Or maybe that's just something for us to consider if we are considering amending a condition that we also impose some limitations to when deliveries can be received on 160th.
Well, I think the best way to go about it, what is the hours of operations for these stores? If the hours of operations for these stores are not going to go into the midnight and such, and the most of the time is beyond really 10 p.m. onwards, it's really where it becomes the peace and quiet for the residential area becomes a question. And what is the hours of operations for most of these stores? They end at like 10 o'clock at night?
Well, I've noticed, if I may, I've noticed that the liquor store opens about 12 o'clock, I believe, because I was there 11:30. They were not even open yet. So I'm assuming maybe around 12 o'clock. So any deliveries for the liquor store would take place after 12 o'clock. The Chinese takeout restaurant, I believe they start lunch around maybe 11 o'clock. So they may have deliveries around 10 o'clock. And the supermarket since they just started, I don't know what time their deliveries, what the hours of their deliveries are.
Mr. Korasanchi, what would be best is what you're stating here. Just go back, find out what's the hours of operations for each one of these individual retail stores, and just talk to the clients and find out what's their typical delivery of period for all goods. And we can kind of use that as a parameter to put some start point and end point of delivery period if it is going to be by the curbside.
I shall do that. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Korasanchi? Do you have any other questions? If not, I'll go to the public. All right, let's go to the public.
The case that we're discussing currently is 11853 BZ, Volume 3, 10657 160th Street, Queens. Should you wish to comment on that application, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 161-468-4973 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you press star 9 to raise your hand, star 6 to unmute as you're calling in on the phone. And if the Zoom room are ready, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you'll have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
All right. Chief Raymond, do you want to add anything to this matter since there was a fire department objection?
Nothing too crazy. I just want to clarify. I'm pretty sure everyone understands this, but the cooking operations that are not permitted to take place are only in the deli. It has nothing to do with the Chinese restaurant that's 2 stores down. I just want to clarify, just to be sure.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Korasanchi, how much time do you need to revise all the documents, finding the easement, the recorded easement, or clarifying about the easement, if you could find the easement, then revising the statement of facts, revising the plans, how much time will you need?
Madam Chair, does that include, for example, repairing the gate, or is that going to happen after the case is closed?
I would, of course, I think the entire board, if I can speak for the board, we would love to see the repair to happen now. And if you can do it, that would be fantastic.
The reason I say that because the owner stays out of the country for most of the time, and his son is not as responsible as his father. But however, I would think maybe about 2 months, perhaps, if you could request that.
January. Okay, so we will schedule this for January because you will need time to locate the easement, the recorded easement, revise the plan, revise the statement of facts, and talk to I think Ms. Matias, you're overseeing this project?
Yeah.
Talk to Ms. Matias regarding how to revise the statement of facts regarding that condition or so, and the language that needs to be added, and also the continuous use, the photos that need to be submitted. So we will schedule this for January. I would say let's do the latter part of January.
Okay, so that would be January 26, 27, and the submission date would be January 8th, Mr. Korasanchi.
26 and 27.
We probably the January 26th, but the submission date would be January 8th.
January 8th, okay.
Okay.
Very good.
And by that time, also, hopefully you would have had the opportunity to go before the community board, and Ms. Matias will also follow up with the community board.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Korasanchi.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, item number 16-218-15, A, sorry, 218-15A, Volume 3, 428 St. Mark's Place, Staten Island.
I've let Ms. Fullader into the panel group.
Hi, there should also be a Kenneth if you see him.
Kenneth Nelson.
Kenneth Nelson, I do.
Yeah. I believe he might not have a working camera, but he can see the screen and he can hear us. and speak.
And he is who?
He is from the architect's office.
Okay.
Okay. I think you are all in the
Yeah,
panel.
but Kenneth, can you unmute how does he unmute? Just press unmute maybe.
Source,
Yeah, it looks like you're on a phone, so maybe star some.
or 6 if he's on the phone.
Yeah, press.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so this is an appeals case. You don't need to be sworn in?
Oh,
No,
okay.
is this an appeals?
Yeah.
Because it's an A.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, GCO.
It's any
Yes.
case.
Okay,
Yeah.
I forgot.
State your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
Elise Fullader from Eric Polanic PC. I'm here with Kenneth Nelson from the architect's office. Thank you. We heard your comments. First, I wanted to apologize for the late submissions. We got comments back from the project manager, and it took us, because of the holidays and stuff, a little too long to revise the plans. But we'll go through it now and hopefully clarify. I tried to give you a red line document to make things quick. I don't know if you saw that. But we'll go through it now. So first is that I did meet with the community board twice and they approved it. I just sent them an email asking for the recommendation, which we'll submit to the board.
Okay, great.
Thank you for explaining how the term works, Chase, and thank you for accepting removing the term. We understand that it is a 4-year term. Appreciate it. The one open ECB violation, I spoke with the architect's office. They understand that if the fence needs to be fixed and needs to be resolved, and we can provide a letter or something explaining our next steps for fixing that and filing to get a new fence.
Right, well, I think I don't want just a letter. I also want to be put into action.
Okay.
It's a safety security issue.
Understood. So I will work through that with them. Next, thank you for pointing out the May 3rd, 2016. We'll check the dates and we'll fix that in the plans, in the statement. And then I'd like to share the plans. And so Kenneth can explain the overall decrease in residential area, but how it changes on each floor. And also maybe explain some of the questions you had about the site plan and numbers and how much of our new building is in the bed of a map street. So I'm gonna just share the plans and then we can look at it together so he knows what to fix in the next submission. Okay, here we go. Can everyone see that? I can try to make it bigger.
Yeah.
Because it's
Great,
small.
I can zoom in, yeah.
So one is, Kenneth, do you want to explain, can you explain the floors and how they increase or decrease and that it's an overall decrease like the board pointed out?
Yes, it might be a bit confusing, but the old BSA approval had its own number 6, but the new update, although we are decreasing the residential floor area, we're increasing the commercial a bit. So overall, the square footage between the original BSA approval and this one is a bit different, but it will decrease in its totality.
And maybe in our next submission, we could just write out floor by floor if that would help everyone rather than just saying decrease, increase.
Yeah.
That's how the board.
Or maybe a chart of what was previously approved and what is being proposed now.
Okay, no problem. So Kenneth will put that together for our next submission, a chart that shows it floor by floor.
No problem.
And then Commissioner Yoon, you pointed out some numbers, I think, on this page set that were a little bit confusing. So I like 77.4% of development. Can Kenneth help clarify?
I was just noting, it seems like it's referencing the amount of the building that is in the bed of the map street, but that's an assumption that I have to make because it's not labeled that way. So it'd be helpful if it was labeled so that, I mean, we're looking at a ton of plans. And so when I just look at numbers, I don't know what it is. It needs to be very obvious what is being stated there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. We'll clarify that statement so it has a full-blown explanation as to the purpose of that calculation.
Thank you.
Okay. So it's mostly just this statement right here. There were the other numbers are
correct.
I'm hoping. Okay. Okay. And then let me look at my notes. We understand that we try to include in the next submission the floor plans, but we still do need the elevations and the sections, which we do have for a construction set. So for the next set, we'll do a BSA set for the elevations and sections. Thank you for pointing that out. There was no specific reason they were omitted. We will put them in. Share. What else? And then, was there any other questions I'm missing? I think those were
The complexity.
Yes.
the complexity, like, I think we just changed the building a number of times, so I guess that's the complexity. Maybe I need to relook at the statement of facts and explain that further. But that as the board pointed out, we changed this project in 2017, and then they wanted to change the building again, so. And then City of Yes and things, and they changed the number of apartments, so I just think that hopefully now we're all set with what we actually want to build, so we can move forward with this project.
Changing a project doesn't make it complex. You change because you want to change. If you can cite another reason like the pandemic or so,
okay,
that would be more appropriate.
I think it's combination of
Yeah.
many
maybe a
things.
combination.
It's a combination of many things. So I think instead of just elaborate, instead of the word complex, just elaborate why it has taken so long.
True, and we can take that word
You're
out.
stating, and what you're stating is all correct. The
Yes.
City of Yes regulations changed. There was the pandemic, and it's a small site, so putting together financing and all of that also is sometimes can be challenging. So it's all of those.
Okay, no problem. I'll just say there was a lot of variables, and then I'll talk about them.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Kenneth while we have him?
No.
No.
Anything? Okay. I think also just want to make sure, when you do submit the plan, the elevations, do indicate this, the envelope. That, because that's one of the waivers, right? You need to show the envelope to show where the encroachment is happening.
Okay. So you want the encroachment like hatched, like you see in other.
Yeah, because that's what the waiver is for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kenneth, you understand that? So anything that goes into the bed of the map street, please hatch on the plan.
Not to be super fundamental, but on the site plan itself, everything, I guess, you would say east of that widening line technically is within the bed of a map street. So would you rather a separate diagram on the site plan indicating the portion of that building within the bed of the map street for additional clarity? Or would, because I know you mentioned envelope, it would be the same height as far as what we're actually protruding into the widening street, the widening area.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. So I think best would be to, on the plan, just show the area that is outside the encroachment area. So that way it's clear that rest of the entire site is going to be affected by the bulk.
No problem. I'll have a separate diagram just to better display that for you.
Yeah. I think just the site plan should be sufficient. Then it's clear that the rest of the elevation and the floor plans are going to be affected, right? Commissioner Yoon?
Understood, will do.
Yeah, that's how it was shown on the previously approved drawings too. It's only indicated on the site plan, and then the rest of the plans and elevations don't indicate because such a huge portion of the project is in the bed of the map street.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thanks, Kenneth. I appreciate having you here.
Of course.
Thank you. Public, any other questions? If not, let's go to the public.
The case that we're currently discussing is 218-15A, Volume 3, 428 St. Mark's Place, Staten Island. Should you wish to comment on this application, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the Weber ID number 161-468-4973 and press the pound sign. The next prompt, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted, you'll press star 9 to raise your hand, star 6 to unmute. If you're calling in on the phone, and if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand on the computer screen. Once you're recognized, you'll have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
Okay. Commissioners, would you be okay to close it? Because I think it's right now mostly just crossing the Ts and dotting the Is.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay.
Motion to close. Chair Chanda?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on, because we need to give public the time to call in. But more importantly, as you know from the procedure now, we do want these submissions to be made at least 2 weeks prior to the scheduled date of the decision.
Yeah, no
Because
problem.
we need to look at those documents for us to prepare the draft resolution.
Understood.
So working backwards, if we were to close this now and schedule it for December, I think December seems likely because with so much vacations and everything coming in,
Okay.
you would be able to get all your documents, the plans, the statement of facts.
Mhm. I was gonna say we need a few weeks anyway, so that makes sense to me.
Okay, so if you need, let's schedule this for then December decision. Is that okay?
December 8th would be so that.
December 8th?
November 20th submission.
Okay, that gives us a month, so I
28th.
think that's fair. Thank you.
Yeah, that gives you 2 weeks and we have, yeah.
Okay.
Motion to close.
Motion to close. Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta. Vice Chair Shabeta,
I think you're muted.
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 Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Okay. Somebody's
Okay.
got some feedback or something. Phone on, radio on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, zoning calendar, continued hearing items. Item number 17, 2024-27 BZ and 5512 BZ, 762 White Avenue, Brooklyn.
I've let Mr. Steinhaus. Is he? Where did he go?
He's in.
He's in? Okay.
Why isn't I not getting the screen? Kurt is up. Sorry, Mr. Steinhaus, sorry. Mr. Steinhaus, is there anyone else joining you?
No, just me.
Okay, let me raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
Great. Good afternoon, Chair Chanda and Commissioners. Kurt Steinhaus with Brian K. Blayton Paisner. We were very pleased to hear the board's feedback this morning on the school's progress with respect to the waste management practice that the school has implemented thus far. With respect to the question about the temporary structure, it is a sukkah that actually belongs to the property next door, so it's unrelated to the school and is just a temporary structure. With respect to the waste management plan, the Department of Sanitation opens the curbside bins when they're at the curb and removes the trash bags from the curbside bins. The bags do not sit on the curb, so we can clarify that. The building manager then returns the bins next to the building. There was a question about Saturday pickups. Those occur beginning at 12 a.m. on Saturday mornings, so essentially overnight on Friday. The bins are set out after school on Friday and return next to the building on Saturday morning after the bags have been picked up out of the bins. The sidewalks are also washed weekly on Saturday mornings. Just going to share my screen.
So for the Saturday pickup, bins are stored Friday evening.
Yes, Friday evening, and then they're picked up overnight or early Saturday morning and returned next to the building on Saturday mornings.
So you're basically going to keep those bins by the building at all times?
Yes, that is how the school has been operating.
And the garbage will be brought from the building and will be brought to the bins, and the bins will be rolled to the curb.
Right. So with the condition that the
Yeah,
Sorry.
to me, that doesn't make sense, I have to say. I mean, the whole purpose of that bin that is solidly built with a beautiful set of wheels which can be maneuvered and rolled around. Really, I don't think the intent of those bins were to be stationed outside the building. The intent of the rolled the bins with the wheels was to have them stored within the building and pull them out at the time of pickup and place them by the curbside.
Okay, that is something that the board or that the school will certainly look into with respect to the internal storage. The school definitely heard the board's comments about the condition that's going to be imposed with respect to maintaining the actual trash bags within the building. So, and also access to the cellar.
Yeah, I just, and the other part of the going back to the calculation, was it based on the projected growth or based on the current growth?
The calculation was based on the projected growth, but we did receive those comments from school safety, and we're going to be updating the waste management calculations.
Okay.
I think also, just while we're on that subject, because we have typically seen the Minnesota pollution number used, this is a big increase when we look at and I'm sorry I missed it on, because it sounds like DSNY or school safety has brought it up in the past, but more as like our approach to the trash calculation.
I actually have to step back. We don't have an approach. We are following an approach that is city standard. We're not waiving any city standards with regards to how any organization, any facility that using DSNY pickup is following. We're not changing any of those. So we were given that standard. We kind of accepted it. I cannot speak for the prior, I mean, I was on the prior board, but at that time, I don't think we were that fully aware of these other requirements that DSNY had. Now that it is much clearer, I think in the last few years, DSNY has created a lot more rigor and clarity as to how one measures volume. So with that clarity in place, I have no mind to want to correct or revise DSNY standards.
Yeah,
So
that's all I wanted.
whatever the applicant is proposing has to meet DSNY standard. That's it. We are not waiving anything on that part. So keeping that in mind, just design your space to meet the DSNY standard. That's it.
So yeah, that comment was meant largely also just so that we know what we're doing going forward, because this conversation comes up a lot, the concern about trash. And so using this, unless otherwise determined, we're now going to be looking at this 2 pounds per student per day, according to DSNY's calculator for DOE projects.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want, this is not something the board should get into, and we have the nor do we have the authority.
I agree. I
to
just
waive.
wanted to, just because we have a lot of active school projects, and I wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. No, thank you for clarifying the board's policy going forward. With respect to room 21 in the cellar, the school did hear the board's concerns about the proposed operations with respect to the staircase, and the board or the school is examining spaces either in the cellar or the first floor that would not require use of stairs in order to move waste from inside the building and outside. And so we will revise that proposal to ensure that it is not, it will not be stair dependent, and that the amount of storage space will meet the Department of Sanitation standards for and that were shared by school safety. With respect to Penn Street, I'm just going to share my screen. We will share. Sorry, is it showing up yet?
No, I think we are all having some technical difficulty.
There it goes.
Oh, there we go. So it is official, Penn Street, this is the DOT list of open streets programs, and Penn Street is officially listed. It closes at 2:30 p.m. And so there would not be a conflict between the open streets program and the there is not a conflict between the curbside tilt trucks ready for sanitation pickup and the open streets program, which was a question.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. If you could add that in the statement of facts? Because
Yes,
okay, thank you.
absolutely. And then I believe that the last question had to do with the fire department comments. The board or the school did receive them. The school has hired a consultant to resolve these issues and has already received 2 cure letters so far since we received them.
All right. Any other questions or clarification? Let's go to the public then. Ms. Benke? Let's hear from Ms. Benke before we go to the public.
Yeah, I just
Miss-
wanted to know, we're still waiting for the revised EAS with air quality and noise. And as well as responding to several other comments for the Parks Department shadows comments.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
The screen up, Joe.
All right. Do we know what is the cause of the delay with regards to air quality and noise?
It took quite a long time to actually get the permits to do the analysis. And so now that we have them, we're still working on the analysis.
Okay. Thank you.
Go.
Yeah.
Okay. The case we're currently discussing is 2024-27BZ and 55-12BZ, 762 Wythe Avenue, Brooklyn. Should you wish to comment on this application, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the webinar ID number 161-468-4973 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you are permitted in, you press star 9 to raise your hand, star 6 to unmute as you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand on your bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you'll have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
Okay. How much time will you need to revise all these documents? So you'll have to revise the plans, revise the statement of facts, to update all the,
Get them on here now.
and I guess the EAS would also need to be reflected, revised, but
Right,
that,
the EAS is, we're hard at work on that. But in terms of the responses to comments today, a month or a month and a half should be sufficient.
okay. Commissioners, do you feel comfortable? Are you in a position to close this or no, not yet? Okay. All right, so we think we need that little bit more clarity on the trash and how that would further not be an encumbrance with regards to the curbside. So that would be, I think that's the outstanding issue.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay.
So we should schedule this for January.
You want to do the end of January or the beginning?
End of January or beginning of January? What would work for you?
Beginning would be great.
Beginning?
Yes.
The
If
session would be
possible.
December 29th, Mrs. Steinhaus.
Okay.
Okay. And that's the 12th. Okay, 12,
Okay.
13. Okay. This conclude for the people that are still in the waiting room. If you have not heard your case, we do have another hearing tomorrow. And those cases are 3718 75th Street, 1994, 2023 36BZ, 191 Edgewater Street, Staten Island, 2024-09 BZ, 401 Park Avenue, Brooklyn. Sorry. 1616 McDonald Avenue, which is 2025-09 BZ, and 2025-16 BZ, 583 East 23rd Street, Brooklyn. And the decision on, sorry, one of the other cases, sorry, can't remember it right now. So if you have not heard your case today, it will be tomorrow. Okay, starting at the same time, 10 o'clock. Thank you. This concludes the public hearing for October 20th, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh my God, Mary Room. Until thing is closed.